Hello again there folks, Lone Adventurer here. Thank you very much for stumbling your way upon my channel and joining me for this overview of a few bits and pieces that I think are worth checking out in Zine Quest or Zine Month or whatever you want to call it this year. Before I get into it, do consider subscribing to my channel if you enjoy content about interesting little solo games and tabletop games that you can play on your own, and consider also liking this video if you find it to be informative. Now, I wasn't going to do any coverage of Zine Quest this year. As you would imagine, I have been trawling through Kickstarter and various sources in order to build up a picture of what is out there and what's being produced this year. And over the last few days, the list of projects that I have either backed, which is not that long, or am considering backing, which is a little bit longer, has grown a bit. So I decided to bring you this little list, and it is going to be quite a short list. I think it's got like 5 or 6 items on it, maybe. Links to all of the games covered will be included in the description down below. With all that said, let's get started. Now, before I show you any individual projects, I just wanted to highlight the Solo But Not Alone bundle, number 5, the 5th of the Solo But Not Alone bundles that have been created by Peach Garden Games. This is on itch.io, and you can make a donation of $10, which is a paltry sum, I think you will agree, for most of us anyway. And for that $10, you get access to quite a few games, 107 games, it says here. And it includes some cool stuff like Runecairn from Odin's Beard RPG, which is not an explicitly solo game, but it is one, I believe, that can be soloed fairly easily. Things like Rangers of the Midden Vale, which I am curious about. What else have we got in here? There's a few things. Monster Hunter, which is a game based on, what's the system called? Firelights. That's interesting. Firelights is a system that one of the Kickstarter games, or crowdsourcing games rather, that we're going to look at in a minute, is also based on. And this is a game that I saw when it first came out, and I was super curious about it. I haven't bought the bundle yet, but I am without a doubt going to buy the bundle, and this is one of the games that I'll be buying the bundle for. Rig looks very intriguing. Cartograph, which Ravens Ridge Press has very kindly sent me a physical copy of, but I haven't yet checked out in any detail. That's quite popular. Wanderer from Sasquatch Games, Sleepy Sasquatch Games. Don't know if they've changed their name just to just Sasquatch Games. Maybe they have. But Sasquatch Games is a friend of the channel. I've covered a couple of games from this designer. Yeah, so I've covered Courier and Glide. I haven't looked at Wanderer in any great detail, but I'm sure it's a game worth checking out, and it's included in this bundle for a very reasonable price. Oh, Zones. This is a game that Sleepy Sasquatch does have on Kickstarter at the moment, but I haven't included it in this list. Do you know what? Maybe we should. Maybe we should include it in this list. There we go, we'll come back to that. And the final game I want to mention in this bundle is my own game, Village Emporium, which is a game where you are running a little shop in a fantasy village, and it is always very reasonably priced, but right now you can get it included in this bundle along with all those other fantastic games. Let's push on, having said all of that, and get to the main content. So the first one I want to mention is a game called Underneath, a game of getting lost and finding out what lurks in the dark. So it sounds a little bit spooky. This is a solo map making and journaling game of exploring unknown cave systems and encountering the strange things that dwell underground. So I haven't backed this one yet, but it's on my short list. There's a few games I haven't backed, and I will back a couple of them, trying to keep the number of games that I back fairly sensible. But it might be this one, and I think this game definitely looks intriguing. A nice little A5 sized zine. And I like games where you are doing map drawing as you are going. So in this game, you explore, you generate and map cave chambers, then you journal about the things that you're encountering, and you face down perils, overcoming obstacles and confronting unexpected cave dwellers during you keep exploring. So you pick a preset character by the looks of things. There's some dice rolling to build out the cave system. You pick your character, start rolling. The cave system has much to discover, such as features, paths, encounters, obstacles, discoveries, and caverns. And there's mention of like built-in scenarios that sound quite different. So there's Aurora's Cove, a fungal nightmare, the Still, a vast quiet lake, or the database, a series of interconnected terminals built into the rock. So it sounds like a game that provides you with quite a lot of sort of narrative like meat, which you can use to build out your solo experience. And I like games like that. So a 60-page zine, so fairly chunky, and rules for solo play, and obviously that is quite important for us. All the prices I mentioned are going to be in pounds, I would imagine. Sorry about that. £9 for a digital backing or £17 for the physical. And I think the shipping is quite reasonable from what I recall. Yeah, international shipping 11 to 14 euros. So obviously the combined physical cost there is quite expensive for a little zine. But if you like the look of it, maybe it would be worth it. That is underneath. I didn't say who it was from. It is from Seb Pines. Don't know much about Seb, but there you go. Underneath is a game that they have made. Right, on to the next one, which is Tales of Volksgrad, Welcome to the Dark. This is not a game, nor is it a solo resource. It is a world setting for adventures that would include maps, quests, NPCs, items, gods, enemies, and much more. So it's quite ambitious. It says D&D campaign here, but I think further down it says that it is system agnostic and can be used in any system that you want. And this is from Leander Durstein, known as Tree Painter on various social platforms. And Leander is someone who I know a little bit because I have appeared on Leander's podcast in my map making capacity as Ways Unseen. If you are a map making enthusiast, you can check out the Fantasy Map podcast, and you can hear me in episode 3 of that. Now, this is one that I've already backed, and the reason why I've backed it, well, there's a few reasons why I've backed it. Firstly, because I wanted to support Leander, and I think that he is an artist worth supporting. I have followed him on Instagram for quite some time and have been a fan of his maps, both his city and overland maps, and also just like his artwork in general. It's sort of highly detailed but clean, with a sort of a cartoony edge to it, quite distinctive. And I just liked the opportunity of owning some of Leander's art in a physical form. So there is that. And I think also it just seems like an interesting setting that Leander is developing. We've got this city that used to be a small fishing village, revering a sea god known as Vilkir, portrayed as a fish with a crown on the city banner. Later on, an era of trade and wealth slowly corrupted the heart of its people with darkness, as many of the citizens strayed from the righteous path, praying to younger gods of decadence and excess. So it's quite a sort of a grubby, gritty place with cutthroats and mercenaries, a bustling city. I think it is worth checking out. There's lots of cool stuff in there. It would be great if a few more people supported this Kickstarter. It has already funded, but I think it deserves a much wider audience. So I'm backing the physical tier, so that's costing about £17 along with some shipping. But there's also a digital only tier for a mere £5 or €5. Check it out if you like the look of it. This is Tales of Volksgrad. Welcome to the dark. Next up, we have got the next campaign from Caleb Engelk, also known as Dungeon Havoc. Friend of the channel, I have covered a lot of Caleb's games now, and this is one for people who were unable to get hold of the Korg card game. Essentially what Caleb has done is create a little zine that combines all of the game details and mechanics from Korg into a booklet form, but I believe it has also been expanded out to include other quests and other things. It just says here a bunch of other things to improve the game. So this is one that has not launched yet, but you can follow along and get an alert when the Kickstarter launches, which is what I have done. Obviously, I'm going to be backing classic Korg, even though I already own the cards. Any new content for the game I want, so I'll be backing that one. Next up, we've got Solo Borg from The Soloist. That is a guy called Patrick who runs a fantastic newsletter over on Substack called The Soloist. It is an essential resource for people who like solo gaming, and I have been following The Soloist for quite some time. So last year, Patrick released a series of resources for Morkborg, for playing Morkborg solo, and I messaged him and said, you really should put this together in a zine and launch it so that we can all have a physical copy. And that is exactly what he has done. So this one has not yet launched on Kickstarter either, but you can follow along. It has got a whole host of random bits and pieces in. What we're going to have: world building tools, quest generators, different oracles that you can use whilst playing, stuff related to NPCs, random encounters and challenges, mysteries and veils, and a whole lot more. So as I continue to buy resources that will support solo play for Morkborg, having never played Morkborg solo or otherwise, this is one that I'm going to get. And I'm going to play some Morkborg soon. I will do it. I'm just waiting for one more thing to come in the post. I'm not going to wait for Solo Borg, because that would be a little bit too far in the future. You can get a lot of the stuff that is included in Solo Borg free online through the Soloist Substack. You can go there and check stuff out. I think that is there 30. Is it? Oh yeah, Morktober. He did it as part of Morktober. So this is day 22. If you want your character to have a vision, you can roll on these random tables here to generate that vision. So you can roll for a calling. Why are you having the vision? A disorientation. Where are you in the vision? And a confrontation. What do you face as part of the vision? Oh, it keeps going. A challenge and a revelation. I mean, such a rich set of tables for such an awesome idea. Then here we've got a wraith. So you can generate a spooky, unwanted companion from this table here, and that would affect your play in various ways. So super cool, some really imaginative ideas, and a good way to support someone who gives so much to the community. I will definitely be backing Solo Borg when it comes out. Next up, we've got Tales of Chthonic Waters, a crunchy solo narrative RPG of the Lovecraftian New Weird from someone called Just Donkey. And this is a really ambitious, intriguing solo RPG. I think it's fully self-contained. Original mechanics. I got it into my head that it was based on Morkborg, but maybe I'm basing that just on the aesthetic. I think that might be the case actually. But we've got over 90 pages of crunchy narrative solo RPG in full colour, packed with art and great writing, if they do say so themselves. So I was just intrigued by this because it looks different and it looks ambitious. Just Donkey writes here, as a gamer, I often find myself frustrated by the lack of crunchiness in many of my solo RPGs. Yet too much crunchiness turns it into a numbers game, which defeats the purpose of a narrative game. So this one contains all sorts of interesting mechanics. I haven't had time to fully look into it yet. You can download a version of the game already over on itch.io. So you can check it out in quite a lot of detail if you are so inclined. And it just looks like an intriguing game, I think. So that's another one that can be followed now and will hopefully be launching soon. Tales of the Chthonic Waters, definitely one to watch, looks very intriguing. I very well might be backing this one. And as I go through these, I'm starting to think that I'm probably going to be backing most of them, realistically, because they all look super intriguing. Next up, we've got 6 Thrones of Bone from Gallant Knight Games. Now, it looks like Gallant Knight Games has created quite a few projects. I mean, the name definitely rings a bell. Lots of intriguing looking stuff, none of which I have played. Yeah, lots of stuff. It's the creator of Tiny Dungeon. That's why I know of them, although I haven't played Tiny Dungeon. Lots of intriguing stuff in here. But this one, 6 Thrones of Bone, kill malicious necromancers who've ruined your world, and it's a solo first tabletop RPG. You are a paladin sworn to one of the orders of the 6 kingdoms. Long ago, 6 necromancers overthrew the realms, channeling a mystical destruction from their mighty towers and thrones of bone. So this is the one that uses the Firelights system that I mentioned before, developed by Fairy RPGs and René Pierre Deshay, who I've been following on Blue Sky for quite some time, or on Threads, places like that. So the book is going to be about 40 pages in total, including all the rules, enemies and tools you need to play. Plays with dice and a standard deck of cards. You can explore a hellish landscape, creating a map and narrative as you travel through the 6 kingdoms. And it sounds like it's got an interesting world that your character will inhabit. Yep, looks intriguing. You can follow it on Kickstarter now. And this is the last one here. This is Load the Simulation. Train harder, hold together, drift alone. And this is from Caesar Capital. And this is not on Kickstarter. This is funding through Crowdfunder. Now, I have not played any of Caesar's games, but he is a very prolific creator of solo games, including Wraithhound, which came out last year, Against the Wind, which I think might have also come out last year or the year before. I have got Against the Wind, having backed that when it first came out. I'm pretty sure Ithaqus Bane has good playthroughs of both those games here on YouTube. They are worth checking out. So Caesar is an accomplished designer who produces very thorough and well play-tested game systems. And I think I might be backing this one. Partly because it looks quite intriguing, but also because it delivers through Lulu, the print-on-demand service. And this is how Caesar delivers his games when he does crowdfunding campaigns. And it sort of ensures that the game will be quite affordable if you live somewhere where Lulu delivers to easily, which I do. Here in the UK, getting games delivered from Lulu is quite affordable. And it looks intriguing. Load the Simulation is a tabletop role-playing game set aboard a massive spaceship on a centuries-long mission to discover and prepare exoplanets for colonization. Players take on the roles of crew members selected not for their prestige, but as the essential yet overlooked backbone of the mission, explorers. Frontiers people and problem solvers who are expected to clean up any messes, literal or figurative, they encounter along the way. So basically, you are awoken from cryogenic sleep and your characters are run through training simulations orchestrated by the ship's AI, known as DAX. So just a really intriguing setup, solo first or cooperative, clear procedures and robust random tables. A slightly different sort of approach mechanically, I think, called roll first, think later. So you roll 3 6-sided dice, one for yourself, one for the opposition, and one for the environment. And the balance of that roll dictates who is in control of the scene. So that sounds very intriguing. So I think it'll be mechanically intriguing. It's intriguing in terms of the setting that Caesar has put together here. And visually, I think it will look very pleasing as well. So yeah, interesting looking game, I think, and I'm almost certainly going to be backing it. That is Load the Simulation. And that brings this video to a close, folks. Thank you very much if you made it this far. Let me know which of these games you are thinking of backing yourself. And let me know if there are any other solo first or solo friendly games that I have failed to spot or include in this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye for now.